Hello lads and ladies and welcome to this. Now today we are back for another table prediction. Now we've done the biggest league in the world in League One. Now we're going a little bit smaller over to the Premier League. Now there are 20 teams in the Premier League. 3 have come up from the Championship. 3 went down from the Premier League last year to the Championship. It's going to be a hard one to call, but let's get on with it in today's video. So the 3 newcomers are Leeds United under Marco Bielsa. They absolutely stormed the Championship. At last, they finally walked the league, as they said, and won it by Christmas. However, they did finally seal the deal, and I'm really glad to see them back in the Premier League. And then second was West Bromwich Albion under Slaven Bilic. Again, just kind of got through in the end, but some good players on talent there, likes of Pereira last year as well. And through the playoffs, Fulham won the playoffs. So it's going to be really hard to see how those teams do. Can they kind of trouble the top 10, a bit like Sheffield United did last year, or will they be struggling for relegation? Let me know. I'm going to predict my 20. Let me know your thoughts, and hopefully it's another good season of Premier League football. Now at 20, I think it was always going to be hard to call. I've gone for West Bromwich Albion now. They've only signed 2 players so far, David Button, who will kind of challenge Sam Johnson, who's their first choice keeper there. Sam Johnson is a good keeper as well. And Matheus Pereira, who was there last year, 8 goals and 16 assists, £9 million. Could be one of the bargains of the window. He will add goals, but apart from that, Charlie Austin relying to score goals in the Premier League, I'm not too sure. He's done it for Burnley in the past, he's done it for Southampton, but not on a consistent basis. And for me, I just don't think they have enough goals in them. And I think you'll be looking at where Sam Allardyce is going to go in December. I hope they can do better than I say, but for me, I just don't think they can challenge the teams above them. I think the teams above them have invested better. They've signed a few more players and they've improved on the weaknesses. So bottom of the league for me has to be West Bromwich Albion. 19th, now I didn't want to say this, I've gone for Aston Villa. Now Villa, they stayed up on the last day last year, they came up on the miraculous turn of form. They got a win against Arsenal, a win against Palace, a draw against Everton, and they seem to come together in the last 4 games. But Dean Smith is a Championship standard coach in my opinion, and they did invest well last year. But for me again, where's the goals going to come from? Jack Grealish, keeping him is massive. He'll get you 10, 15 with assists as well. And they signed Matty Cash, which will improve defensively, which they needed to do. He can be like an attacking wing back kind of player, or he can play in midfield for you. But apart from that, they haven't really brought anyone in to fill the void. They missed out on Callum Wilson. They do want Ollie Watkins from Brentford, that's still up in the air. Pepe Reina's gone back, he's joined another club now, so they only have Nyland, and Tom Heaton needs to come back. He'll be a big boost when he comes back, like a new signing. They've kept Mings, but still for me, I think they're a bit weak and they've not improved enough. And for me, they'll get that second season syndrome and they'll go down. I'm finalising my bottom 3. I've gone for Fulham. So 2 out of the 3 promoted sides will go straight back down. Now the transfer window so far has been shrewd. Scott Parker, new 3-year deal as a manager, a good piece of business for them. Lamina, again from Southampton, not made a Premier League appearance in over a year. Harrison Reed, who they have signed on a new 4-year deal after being on loan last year. He made 25 appearances in the Championship for them. Again, shrewd business, but he's not added to the squad in my opinion enough. Mitrovic is a good striker. He'll give you 10, 15 goals in the Premier League. But apart from that, defensively, they can be a bit weak. They signed Robinson from Wigan on a £2 million deal as a defender, as a fullback. He is good in my opinion. But for me, they are a bit weak and they've not invested enough in the squad. At 17th, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Now, Zaha wants out. He's been their main man for years now, their talisman, and when to step up, he always scores a good goal. And for me, he just looks unhappy, and he hasn't been on form the last 2 years for them, so they should just let him go, accept a lower transfer fee than they want. The Townsend's a good player, he'll had a few goals. McCarthy have been given a new deal as well. Milivojevic is a decent player as well. But they have signed Eze from QPR, £19.5 million deal. That's a fantastic signing. But again, he's the only one. And you've got to remember, this Palace side lost 7 out of the last 8 games. Lost 7 in a row due to Spurs. 16th, Newcastle. Now, they needed a new striker. Joel Linton didn't quite cut the mustard, did he? And Andy Carroll can't give you more than 15 games in a season nowadays. And they've gone to Callum Wilson, £20 million signing from Bournemouth. He scored quite a lot of goals for them over the recent years. I think it's 67 in 168 appearances for the Cherries. That is a very good piece of business. Ryan Fraser, again from Bournemouth on a free transfer. 27 goals at his time at Bournemouth. Again, Premier League experience as well. They know the league. They've been around the league for the last 4 or 5 years. And we've also signed Jeff Hendrick from Burnley. A different way to approach it. A good attacking midfielder. Europa League experience in the qualifiers for Burnley just 2 years ago. And again, been under a good manager under Sean Dyche. 15th, I've gone for Southampton. Now, they really ended last season very well, and if you would have told me SOOOO would have been one of the best managers in the league after losing 9-0 at home to Leicester in September, I probably would have laughed at you. But however, they recovered well, and Che Adams started to hit form. He'll be like a new signing for them at the start of next year, in my opinion. He looked very bright and fresh, and looked like he got his confidence back from his Birmingham days. They have re-signed Kyle Walker-Peters and swapped him for Højbjerg at Spurs. It fits both parties. Southampton needed a better right back, and Walker-Peters did well there on loan second half of the season. And they got some good midfielders at the Southampton. Ward-Prowse has signed a new deal as well. That's a great piece of business for them. He'll keep them up, and I think they'll not do quite as well as they did last year, but I think they'll have more of a mixed bag of results throughout the season instead of just going on a good run at the end of the season. At 14th, West Ham. Now, stayed up last year again, went on a decent run towards the end of the season. Now, Declan Rice is a great midfielder. He'll help them keep up. Soychek in the attacking midfielder as well. And they've got some decent strikers, Sebastian Haller. They do lack a few goals, in my opinion, so they could do with adding another striker. Jordan Hugill has left the club to go to Norwich. Now, for me, they'll still more comfortably than they did last year. They are interested in James Tarkowski from Burnley on a £17 million deal. Now, if they can get him, that'll be a great piece of shrewd business, a great centre-back, an England international, and really improve them defensively. But for me, they haven't done enough in this transfer window to try and break into that top 10. Deegan Armour's gone to West Brom. I know where Mark Noble was really unhappy about that, and the whole squad was. I just don't think they're being ran proper at the moment in terms of transfers in. But for me, West Ham, 14th. 13th, and you talk about second season syndrome, I've gone for Sheffield United. Now, I don't think this will affect them too much, but Sheffield United have a great manager in Chris Wilder, one of the best managers in the Premier League. He knows how to get discipline and goals and keeping clean sheets out of his side. They just signed Jayden Bogle and Max Lowe. Again, very good fullbacks left and right, and he'll fit into their system because they do like to play a back three, a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, depending on how they're wanting to play and set up. Ethan Amadou is a good signing as well. They've also signed Sander Berge in January, more to come from him. Now he's settled into the league. Ramsdale in goal, another good English goalkeeper to replace Dean Henderson. So they go about it the right way. They don't splash money about. They've kept the squad from last year, like of John Egan, another good player, Ollie McBurney, John Lundstrom, John Fleck. So they've kept that spine together, and they've got such a mentality where I don't think they'll go down. At 12th, I've gone for Brighton. Now, they had a really good, interesting start of the window. They signed Adam Lallana, and everything about that deal just rings as a great deal for both parties. An attacking midfielder that can get you up off your feet. They did lose Aaron Moy, but I think Lallana is a better player than Moy, in my opinion. Joel Veltman, a good defender from Ajax, obviously a Champions League semi-finalist just 18 months ago in that semi-final against Spurs, one of the mentalist semi-finals I've ever seen. Again, they've kept the spine of the squad together. Lewis Dunk has signed a new long-term deal, so has Ben White, a very good English centre-half partnership. Probably not really talked about enough. Ben White, promotion with Leeds last year. Leeds were wanting to pay £30 million for him. Another good defender that will grow in the game, a bit like Lewis Dunk has, and those two could be England internationals together in a couple of years, who knows. At 11th, Burnley. Now, I know a lot of players have left the club this year. Joe R, Jeff Hendricks left, but the majority kept the players that were the better ones for them. James Tarkowski, if they can keep hold of him, that'll be the signing of the summer for them, in my opinion. Ben Mee signing a new contract as well. Keeping Dyche, he knows how to keep teams in the Premier League. Ashley Barnes will come back from injury. You've got Jay Rodriguez, Chris Wood. So they do know where to score goals and how to keep the back door closed as well. Nick Pope, second most clean sheets in the Premier League last year, only behind Alisson at Liverpool. Moving on to my top 10. Leeds United, 10th. Rodrigo is a fantastic signing. £26 million from Valencia. Now, again, 59 goals for them in 220 games. He will add at least 10 goals next year for me. Bamford as well could add a couple, not the greatest in my opinion. Klotch is a good signing as well. They've kept hold of Calvin Phillips, who averages 45.5 passes per game, as well as 2.5 tackles as well under Marco Bielsa. Bielsa's a great manager, experienced. He will know how to bend these players in and when to play them and when to not. And great manager, great squad. They've kept the spine together. Could do with maybe a few reinforcements up front as well. At 9th are a team we all love to watch, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Fabio Silva, 18-year-old striker, £36 million nearly, breaking their transfer window record. Again, that was set just a couple of years ago on Raul Jimenez for £30 million. They've kept Traore, they've kept Jimenez, they've kept Jota, they've kept Coutinho, Neves, they've kept that spine together. Marcel, another defender, £2 million, shrewd business. He will add something to their back line, in my opinion. Connor Cody as well is a good centre half who they've kept. So for me, Nuno's a great manager. They haven't got Europe this year, so they could maybe try and challenge for the top 6 a bit more. But for me, Wolves, a breath of fresh air to watch. And I don't think they'll hit the heights that they did last year or the year before. But Wolves, 9th. At 8th, we've gone for Leicester. Now, Leicester, second half of last year's season was very poor. Relegation form. First half, very good. However, they've got Maddison on a new deal, Vardy on a new deal, Mendy on a new deal. They have let Chilwell go, but they have Castange, can't really pronounce his name. A good fullback, good defender as well. They can play on really any side, which is good versatility for Brendan Rodgers to have. For me, I don't think they'll hit the heights that they did last year, but for me, they'll challenge for Europe again. They have got Europa League, which will be tough for them. They haven't got the biggest of squads, in my opinion. Iheanacho is a decent backup striker for Jamie Vardy. But for me, they'll just miss out on Europe this year. At 7th, we've gone for Everton. Now, Everton have gone from a midfield of Gylfi Sigurdsson, Tom Davies and Morgan Schneiderlin to a midfield of Decore, James Rodriguez and Allen. I'm not being funny, that is an upgrade. The midfield has totally changed. James Rodriguez, £20 million, put it on a 2-year deal. Nothing really to lose there. He's had promise. In the 2014 World Cup, he looked so good. Not really hit it at Real Madrid. Carlo Ancelotti, again, he is the master. Giving him a full season, he'll really improve them. Keane signed a new deal as well. Decore, Premier League experience, over 100 appearances. Allen as well, really experienced, knows how to win big games. They still kept Richarlison as well. Maybe add another winger. Iwobi, for me, is terrible. Walcott's okay. Bernard's average, in my opinion. He's better than they've got, but I think you can get better than Bernard. For me, they've got a decent enough squad to get Europe this year. Carlo Ancelotti will bring it home to Goodison Park, in my opinion. 6th, we've gone for Arsenal. Now, they look a different team under Mikel Arteta. They signed Gabriel, and they've also signed Celebos on loan. Again, shrewd, but again, not good enough defensively, in my opinion. Aubameyang's one of the best strikers in the world right now. He'll score enough goals to get them there, but still, their away form is very worrying. They look better than they did, but away from home, they just look a bit shaky a bit. They don't look like a big team away. At home, they look a bit better. But for me, Arteta's really got to work on that. He has done well in the FA Cup and the Community Shield, but now it's all about the league and getting it back to it. Lacazette, they need him up and running like he was a couple of years ago. Arsenal, 6th. At 5th, we've gone for Spurs, the team I follow. Now, Spurs, their business has been very shrewd this year. Matt Doherty's a good right-back, a lot better than Ori at the moment. Again, improved there. And only £15 million, which is a very good deal. We've also signed Højbjerg, a decent piece of business. Again, along with that Kyle Walker-Peters business. They hadn't got a defensive midfielder, so he's come in and will do a job. And Joe Hart will be the backup goalkeeper for like Europe games or FA Cup games. He knows how to win trophies. He's got that intelligence and a bit of arrogance about him, which we need, and he knows Spurs need to win trophies. So I think Jose Mourinho, now given a full year, they need a backup striker if they want to challenge for top 4 or win a trophy. But for me, Spurs will miss out on top 4 for the second consecutive season. At 4th, we've gone for Man United. Now, their midfield looks amazing. Paul Pogba, they've added Van der Beek to it, Matic, Fred. It just looks a lot better. And up front, Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, Igalo, can play them, James as well. They've got options now which they didn't have a year ago. They look a lot better. Van der Beek, again, time with Ajax, semi-finalist, knows how to get through big games. Good youngster as well, £35–40 million. Been a good window for Man United as well. And for me, if they can maybe get one more defender, they could really challenge that top 3. But for me, Man United will get top 4 again this year under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. At 3rd, we've gone for Chelsea. Now, their window has been amazing. Thiago Silva on a 1-year deal. Kai Havertz, again, really good spell with Bayer Leverkusen. Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Ben Chilwell, no Sarri's going out on loan. But again, those 5 that have come in, that'll have a big impact. More pressure on Frank Lampard this year, in my opinion. They've got more goals in them. I wonder how that looks for the likes of Tomori, Mount, Abraham, the ones who were kind of starting for them last year. But for me, they've got bigger game players now, and they should be getting top 3, and they should be challenging those top 2, in my opinion. At 2nd, we did it last year. I have backed Manchester City to win the league. So at 2nd, we've gone for Liverpool. Now, Liverpool signed a Greek left back, but for me, I think there'll be 2 up there, in my opinion, whereas City will be raring to go, a bit like Liverpool were last year. And for me, Liverpool will kind of fade away just a bit. I still think it's going to be an interesting title race to see how it goes. I just don't think they'll quite hit the heights that they did last year for me. But for me, I have gone for Man City to win the league. So yeah, I've gone for Man City to win the league. Ferran Torres is a good piece of business. Nathan Ake on that left-hand side of defence. We finally got cover because Laporte was injured for a long period of time last year, and you could really see his absence. So for me, they've improved what they needed to. They've got Phil Foden coming through. He looks better now. He'll replace David Silva. They've got Rodri. He's kind of coming through the game as well, English football as well. So they are adapting. Pep wants a couple more, I know that. But for me, Man City to win the league. So thank you for watching today's video. I did hope you enjoyed it. Please smash the like rating if you did. Can we try and hit? We'll go for 100 likes on this. We're getting closer to 5,500 subscribers. So if you could subscribe, that would be appreciated. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.